In the quiet town of Willowbrook, the Anderson family had long been known for their kindness and love for animals. Their golden retriever Max had been a constant source of joy for 12 years. Though his once lustrous coat had paled and his eyes were clouded with age, his wagging tail and warm demeanor made him a cherished companion to all. But this spring, something shifted. Sophia Anderson, a retired schoolteacher, noticed Max hesitating more than usual. He bumped into the coffee table one morning and stumbled over a chair leg the next. Concerned, she mentioned it to her husband, David. "Something's not right," she said. Worry etched on her face as they watched Max shuffle cautiously across the living room. His nose skimmed the floor as though mapping out an uncertain world. A visit to the local vet brought heartbreaking news. Dr. Harper's voice was gentle but firm as she explained, "Max is developing progressive cataracts. He's going blind, Sophia. It's common in older golden retrievers, but his case is advancing rapidly." Over the following weeks, Max's world dimmed. His confidence faded along with his vision, and he began spending most of his days curled up on his bed near the fireplace. The once constant thump of his wagging tail grew infrequent, replaced by a heavy stillness that filled the house with quiet sorrow. Sophia couldn't bear to watch Max withdraw. She spent hours researching ways to help blind dogs, rearranging furniture, adding textured mats, and even placing scent markers around the home. But no matter what she did, it wasn't enough to lift Max's spirits. His depression was palpable. One morning, as Max refused to step outside for his usual walk, Sophia's heart ached. "He needs something we can't give him," she whispered to David. "Someone who can help him see the world again." Fate intervened when their granddaughter, Emily, shared a video of a cat guiding a blind dog at a shelter. The idea seemed improbable, even absurd, but Sophia couldn't shake the thought. That same day, she turned to David with a determined smile. "We're going to the shelter," she said. Little did they know, this decision would not only save Max but also lead to an extraordinary friendship that would inspire their entire town. The Willowbrook Animal Shelter hummed with life when Sophia and David arrived. The cacophony of barking dogs and meowing cats echoed through the air, but the Andersons weren't there for just any animal. They were on a mission. "We're looking for a companion for our blind dog," Sophia told the shelter manager, Laura, who raised an eyebrow in surprise before breaking into a kind smile. "That's a rare request," Laura admitted, "but I might have just the right candidate." She led them to a quiet corner of the shelter, where the noise from the kennels seemed to fade. Perched gracefully on a high shelf was a striking gray cat with luminous golden eyes. She wasn't like the other cats, who either clamored for attention or lazed indifferently. This one observed everything with an air of intelligence, her gaze following Laura as she approached. "This is Luna," Laura explained, her voice soft with affection. "She's about 3 years old. Luna's special. She has this uncanny ability to help our elderly or disabled animals find their way around. We've never seen anything like it." As if to prove Laura's words, Luna leapt down with elegance and padded toward a corner where an elderly, blind tabby cat lay sleeping. Luna gently nudged the tabby awake and guided it toward a nearby water bowl with deliberate, patient movements. Sophia's breath hitched and she felt tears prick her eyes. "She's incredible," Sophia whispered, turning to David. "But how do you think she'd react to a dog?" "That's something we can test," Laura said, her tone reassuring. She arranged for a meeting in a quiet room where Luna and Max could meet under careful supervision. Max entered the room hesitantly, his nose twitching at unfamiliar scents. His movements were cautious, his ears alert to every sound. Luna, already seated in the corner, watched him intently. She made no move to flee or hide, as many cats might. Instead, she stood and walked slowly toward him, her tail swishing gently. Then, to everyone's amazement, Luna let out a soft trill, a sound so gentle it seemed designed just for Max. His ears perked up and he turned toward her. Luna circled him, brushing against his legs, her touch reassuring and deliberate. Max, who had been stiff with anxiety, relaxed. His tail gave a hesitant wag. "She's guiding him," David said, his voice filled with awe. And then, as if to seal their bond, Luna walked a few steps ahead and trilled again, waiting for Max to follow. Slowly but surely he did. Sophia clutched David's hand, her voice trembling. "She's perfect. She's exactly what Max needs." That day, Luna left the shelter to begin a new chapter in her life, and to light the way for Max through his darkest days. What none of them knew yet was that this partnership would go far beyond anything they had imagined, changing lives in ways they could never have foreseen. The first few days at the Anderson home were cautious and quiet, as Luna adjusted to her new surroundings. Sophia and David had prepared a special cat bed, climbing posts, and a litter box in a sunny corner of the living room, but Luna paid them little mind. From the moment she arrived, her focus was on Max. Max was curious but hesitant, his blindness making him unsure about how to interact with this unfamiliar feline. Luna, however, seemed to understand his uncertainty. On the very first night, instead of settling into her plush new bed, she padded over to Max's cushion by the fireplace. She curled up on the edge of his bed, her soft purring filling the room with a gentle, comforting rhythm. Sophia watched from the doorway, her heart swelling. "She's already watching over him," she whispered to David. The real magic began the next morning. Max had been reluctant to walk to his food bowl since losing his sight, often waiting for Sophia to guide him. But as the family prepared breakfast, Luna took charge in a way that left them speechless. Luna approached Max's food bowl and tapped it twice with her paw, creating a distinct sound that echoed in the quiet kitchen. Then she walked back to Max and gently brushed against his side. She meowed softly, a sound that seemed almost like a command, and began walking toward the bowl. Max hesitated, lifting his nose to follow the sound of her movement. Luna repeated the process, tapped the bowl, returned to Max, nudged him gently, and meow. Step by step, Max followed her until he reached his breakfast. "She's teaching him," Sophia marveled, her eyes brimming with tears. "She's actually teaching him how to trust again." From that day forward, Luna developed a system of signals to help Max navigate the house. A soft trill meant "follow me." A gentle tap with her paw meant "stop," or "be cautious." Her movements were precise and patient, as if she understood the gravity of her role. By the end of the week, Max's confidence began to return. With Luna by his side, he ventured outside for the first time in weeks. She led him slowly around the backyard, pausing at obstacles and guiding him safely along the path. His tail wagged more often, and his steps became more assured. Neighbors began to notice the change. Mrs. Jenkins, the Andersons' next-door neighbor, leaned over the fence one afternoon, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I just watched them," she said to Sophia. "That cat of yours, she's a miracle worker. She's giving Max his life back." Inside the house, Luna continued her quiet, purposeful work. She learned to guide Max to his favorite spots, the fireplace, the back door, and his bed. When he stirred in the night, disoriented, she was there with her soft trill, a constant reminder that he was never alone. As the days turned into weeks, Sophia and David watched in awe as their once dejected golden retriever transformed. Max began greeting the mornings with a wagging tail and a renewed sense of purpose. Luna's steady presence had rekindled his joy. "They're not just companions," David said one evening as they watched the pair curled up together by the fireplace. "They're a team. She's his light in the darkness." And as the first month came to a close, it became clear to the Andersons that Luna wasn't just a guide for Max. She was his reason to hope again. Their journey together was only just beginning. As summer began to settle over Willowbrook, Luna and Max's partnership blossomed into something remarkable. Each day brought new challenges, and Luna tackled them with ingenuity and unwavering dedication. The Andersons marveled at how she seemed to instinctively understand Max's needs, adjusting her behavior to guide him through the world. One morning, Max hesitated at the back door. The warm summer breeze carried the scent of blooming flowers, but Max's ears flattened in uncertainty. The porch steps had always been tricky for him, and now, without his sight, they were an even greater obstacle. Luna, perched nearby, observed Max's hesitation. She patted down the steps first, her delicate paws making soft sounds as she descended. Then she returned to Max, brushing her head against his side. She let out her distinctive trill, an encouraging sound that Max had come to associate with safety. Luna repeated the process. Step down, return, trill. Slowly, Max began to follow her lead. From the kitchen window, Sophia watched with tears in her eyes. "It's like they're dancing," she whispered to David, who had joined her. "She's teaching him to trust the world again, one step at a time." By the end of the week, Max was navigating the steps with Luna's guidance. She always stayed a step ahead, her tail swishing like a flag leading him forward. It wasn't just practical, it was a display of trust and connection, a rhythm that only the two of them understood. The bond between them extended beyond physical guidance. One particularly warm afternoon, Max stretched out on the lawn for a nap under the sun. As he slept, his legs twitched, and he let out a low whimper. A dream, perhaps a troubling one. Luna, who had been watching nearby, immediately walked over. She pressed her small body against his side, her purring a low, steady hum that seemed to soothe him. Max's whimpers subsided, his breathing evening out as he relaxed into her presence. Their relationship didn't go unnoticed by the neighbors. Children stopped to watch Luna guiding Max through the yard, their laughter filled with delight. Word spread about the seeing eye cat, and soon, strangers would pause outside the Andersons' fence, captivated by the sight of a cat and dog moving in perfect harmony. One afternoon, Mrs. Jenkins came by, holding a basket of freshly baked cookies. Her eyes were red-rimmed but soft with gratitude. "I just watched Luna guide Max around your garden," she said, her voice trembling. "I've never seen anything so beautiful. It's like she was sent here for him." Inside the house, the Andersons noticed another change. Max, once reluctant to interact with anyone besides his family, began to show interest in visitors again. When Emily, their granddaughter, came over, Luna guided Max to her, nudging him forward until he rested his head in Emily's lap. It was the first time he had done so since losing his sight. "Grandma," Emily said softly, her hand stroking Max's golden fur, "they're teaching us something, aren't they? About what love can do." Sophia smiled, her heart full. "Yes, my dear, they truly are." As the season unfolded, Luna and Max continued their dance of trust and friendship. With Luna by his side, Max rediscovered the joy of living, proving that even in darkness, love and connection could light the way forward. As autumn swept into Willowbrook, it brought shorter days and cooler nights. The changing seasons created new challenges for Max, whose world was already cloaked in darkness. The unfamiliar crunch of fallen leaves beneath his paws and the sudden chill in the air made him hesitate, his confidence faltering, but Luna adapted effortlessly. She developed a new signal, brushing her tail against Max's left or right side to guide him around obstacles. When the leaves piled high in the yard, obscuring familiar paths, Luna would walk ahead, her soft paws leaving a trail for Max to follow. It was a routine born of understanding and patience, a rhythm that brought peace to Max's uncertain steps. One crisp evening, the Andersons decided to put up their annual autumn decorations, a task they had hesitated to undertake, fearing it might confuse Max's mental map of the house and yard. The scarecrow, hay bales, and pumpkins were arranged with care, but Sophia's heart ached as she watched Max pause at the back door, sniffing the air with uncertainty. "I think it's too much for him," Sophia said softly to David. "The changes might overwhelm him." But Luna had other plans. As if sensing Max's hesitation, Luna padded toward him, her distinctive trill breaking the silence. She gently nudged him forward and led him outside, her movements deliberate and reassuring. She paused at each new decoration, waiting for Max to sniff and familiarize himself with the altered landscape. When they reached the scarecrow, Luna stood tall, placing her paw on its wooden frame as if to signal, "This is safe." From the porch, Sophia and David watched, their hearts swelling with emotion. "She's helping him map it all out," David said, his voice thick with admiration. "She's not just guiding him, she's teaching him to trust the changes." The real magic came a few days later when a group of neighborhood children stopped by to admire the decorations. Max, who had once withdrawn from strangers, approached them with Luna by his side. She stayed close, her presence steady and calming, as Max wagged his tail and allowed the children to pet him. "He's happy again," Sophia whispered, tears brimming in her eyes. "She's given him back more than just his confidence. She's brought him joy." As the days grew shorter, Luna's dedication only deepened. On stormy nights, when the howling wind made Max anxious, Luna would curl up beside him, her soft purring a constant reminder that he wasn't alone. She even developed a way to guide him to the fireplace on particularly cold evenings, nudging him gently until he settled on his favorite cushion. Their bond became the talk of the town. Neighbors would pause on their walks to marvel at the sight of Luna and Max navigating the yard together. Children told stories at school about the extraordinary cat who had become a blind dog's eyes. And when the Andersons hosted their annual autumn gathering, Luna and Max became the centerpiece of every conversation. "I've never seen anything like it," Mrs. Jenkins said, wiping away a tear as she watched the pair resting by the fire after the gathering. "It's like they were made for each other." In the quiet moments of the season, as the leaves turned gold and crimson, Luna and Max shared a connection that transcended words. Together, they reminded everyone who saw them that love wasn't about fixing what was broken. It was about finding beauty in the journey and lighting the way for each other through life's darkest shadows. Winter arrived in Willowbrook with its first snowfall blanketing the familiar world in white. For Max, the unfamiliar textures and scents brought a new wave of uncertainty. The cold nipped at his aging joints, and the once safe backyard became an alien landscape of uneven ground and hidden obstacles. On the first snowy morning, Max stood at the back door, his ears drooping as he hesitated to step outside. Sophia crouched beside him, stroking his head. "He's afraid," she murmured. "This is all new for him." Luna, watching from her perch on the windowsill, leapt down and padded over. She pressed her nose to Max's side, her quiet trill breaking the silence. Then, with an air of determination, she ventured out into the snow, leaving delicate paw prints behind. She turned back, meowing softly as if to say, "Follow me." Max sniffed the air, his ears perking at the sound of her voice. He took a cautious step forward, then another, following the trail Luna had carved through the snow. She moved with purpose, stopping every few feet to glance back and make sure he was still with her. Sophia and David watched from the doorway, their breaths fogging the cold air. "She's making a path for him," David said, his voice tinged with awe. Day by day, Luna's guidance grew more ingenious. She began packing down narrow corridors in the snow with her small body, creating smooth trails that Max could navigate safely. When icy patches formed, she tapped at them with her paw, alerting him to step cautiously. Inside the house, Luna pushed rugs into place to create textured pathways, ensuring Max could move around without confusion. The pair's extraordinary partnership soon caught the attention of the local veterinarian, Dr. Harper. During a visit, Dr. Harper marveled at Luna's adaptive strategies. "This is more than guidance," she told Sophia. "Luna is problem-solving in ways I've never seen. She's giving Max his independence." Word spread, and soon the Andersons were inundated with visitors eager to witness the remarkable bond between the blind dog and his feline guide. The local newspaper ran a story titled "The Seeing Eye Cat of Willowbrook," and the heartwarming tale touched readers far beyond the small town. But Luna and Max weren't finished inspiring their community. The most magical moment came on Christmas Eve. Sophia and David had hesitated to put up their Christmas tree, fearing it might disrupt Max's understanding of the living room. But Luna once again rose to the challenge. As soon as the tree was in place, she began guiding Max around it, ensuring he understood the new layout. She even brushed against the lower branches, helping him identify its presence. That evening, as the Andersons gathered by the fire, they watched Max settle beneath the tree, his golden fur illuminated by the twinkling lights. Luna curled up beside him, her gray form blending with the shadows of the room. The sight was so peaceful, so perfect, that Sophia whispered, "It's like a living Christmas card." That winter, Luna and Max taught their town a profound lesson. Through their bond, they showed that true friendship could overcome any obstacle. They reminded everyone who saw them that even in the coldest, darkest moments, love and trust could light the way. And as the snow fell softly outside, Luna's gentle purring and Max's contented sighs wove a quiet symphony of companionship, a melody that warmed the hearts of everyone who heard it. As spring melted the snow and filled the air with the scent of blooming flowers, Luna and Max's extraordinary journey reached its final chapter. At 14 years old, Max's golden coat had faded to white, and his movements were slower than ever. Yet with Luna by his side, his spirit remained strong. One sunny morning, Max struggled to rise from his bed by the fireplace. His joints, stiff from age, refused to cooperate. Luna, who had been curled up nearby, immediately sensed his discomfort. She stood and meowed insistently, pacing toward Sophia and then back to Max. Sophia understood the signal. She gently administered Max's arthritis medication and returned to find Luna pressing her tiny paws into Max's back, as if offering a comforting massage. "She's not just guiding him anymore," Sophia murmured to David. "She's become his strength, his voice." Despite Max's slowing pace, Luna adjusted her care with unwavering devotion. She created smaller, safer adventures for him, leading him to patches of sunlight on the porch or guiding him around the garden's newest blossoms. Her gentle nudges and soft trills became a language of love, a bond that no words could capture. As Max grew more frail, the Andersons received a call from the local elementary school. The children, inspired by the story of Luna and Max, wanted to host a special event in their honor. Sophia hesitated, worried about Max's ability to handle the excitement, but Luna's calm and steady presence gave her confidence. On the day of the event, Luna guided Max through the school hallways with extraordinary care. The children gathered in a circle, their eyes wide with wonder as Luna used her soft signals to lead Max through the room. The teacher explained, "This is a story about love, about how even the smallest gestures can make the biggest difference." A little girl in a wheelchair raised her hand. "It's like how my best friend helps me tie my shoes," she said, smiling at the boy beside her. Max's tail wagged softly as Luna pressed against his side, and Sophia felt a warmth in her heart that no words could describe. Their story had become more than just an inspiration. It was a living lesson in kindness and connection. As summer approached, Max's time grew short. One quiet morning, as sunlight filtered through the window, Max lay on his cushion with Luna nestled beside him. He took a deep, peaceful breath and slipped away, surrounded by love. Luna stayed by his side, her soft purring a lullaby of farewell. The Andersons buried Max beneath the old oak tree in the backyard, his favorite resting spot, and marked the grave with a plaque. "Max, guided by love, forever remembered." In the days that followed, Luna's grief was palpable. She would sit by Max's empty bed, her trilling sounds now soft and mournful. But as the weeks passed, she began to find new purpose. She started spending time by the window, watching the neighborhood. One afternoon, she meowed insistently at Sophia, leading her to look outside. There, struggling up the sidewalk, was Mr. Peterson, an elderly neighbor recovering from a stroke. Luna's keen intuition sensed his need, and Sophia invited him in. From that day on, Luna became a companion to those in need, bringing comfort and hope to neighbors and visitors alike. The local therapy center invited her to work with patients, where her gentle demeanor and uncanny ability to sense emotions brought smiles and healing. The story of Luna and Max inspired the community to establish the Charlie and Luna program at the shelter, named after two other animals who had formed a similar bond. The program paired senior and disabled animals, proving that every life could be enriched through connection. Years later, Luna passed peacefully, leaving behind a legacy of compassion and resilience. In the center of Willowbrook's Park, a statue of Max and Luna now stands, the golden retriever and the gray cat, side by side, eternal symbols of friendship. The plaque beneath it reads, "Love lights the way, even in the darkest of times." The story of Max and Luna continued to ripple outward, teaching new generations that the truest friendships know no boundaries, not of species, age, or ability. And in the hearts of those who remembered them, their love continued to shine, a beacon of hope that illuminated even the darkest paths. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you won't miss any of our latest videos. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Thank you all for taking the time to watch, and see you in the next video.